I feel so bad, I've got a worried mind. I'm so lonesome all the time, since I left my baby behind on Blue Bayou. Saving nickels, saving dimes, working till the sun don't shine. Looking forward to happier times on Blue Bayou. I'm going back someday, come what may, to Blue Bayou, where you sleep all day and the catfish play on Blue Bayou. Well, you're probably wondering why I'm singing that old Roy Orbison song, Blue Bayou. Well, what we're going to make today makes me think of the bayous in the southeastern part of the United States, probably because I learned this recipe when I lived in Tennessee. Now, that's kind of a funny thing to say because there aren't any bayous in Tennessee, or if there are, they're very well kept secrets. But we're going to make today fish cakes. Now, you can make these with a variety of types of seafood. You can make with crab, salmon, you can shred up shrimp into fine pieces and use shrimp. But today, we're going to use tuna. So we're going to make tuna cakes. So I'm going to move the camera over so you can see what's happening in the bowl, and we'll get right to it. All right, well, there's 11 ingredients to these delicious things. And the first one is your tuna. Now I'm using clover leaf solid white tuna, and it's in water. You want a 6-ounce can, or if you're in Canada, it's a 170 gram can. So just put that into your bowl. And if it's not already kind of flaked out, you want to just kind of chop that up into small bits as best you can. Now I drained this can a little bit earlier, and in my own defense, I gave the liquid to my cat because it's easier to keep him occupied with that than try and fend him off with one hand while mixing this together in the other. Your next ingredient is a 1/4 cup of shredded carrot. You want a 1/2 cup of soft breadcrumbs. I'm using Kikkoman panko breadcrumbs, but use whatever kind you have. Make your own if you want. You want 1 tablespoon of melted butter, or you can use margarine if you prefer that to butter. Seems like most of us have our preferences. You want 3/4 of a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. You want a tablespoon of mayonnaise. I love these little spatulas. If you don't have one, invest some money and buy yourself one. You can usually find them sometimes even in the supermarket, hanging on those little racks they have on the aisles. They usually have nothing at all to do with whatever they're selling in that aisle, but they have those little racks. Sometimes they're toys or lids for cat food or dog food cans or all kinds of little goodies, but occasionally they'll have these hanging there. All right, you're going to want a 1/4 teaspoon of mustard powder. It's dry mustard. I believe this is Coleman's. You want 1 large egg. And you want to beat it before you add it in there. It's funny, whenever my wife buys the eggs, she always buys brown eggs. I have nothing against brown eggs, but I asked her the other day, I said, so do you prefer brown eggs to white eggs? No. Why'd you ask? I said, well, just every time you buy the eggs, you buy brown eggs. Oh. I hadn't noticed, she said. Well, it's because I do most of the cooking and baking, so she probably didn't really notice. But I guess when she goes to the refrigerator section where the eggs are, those are the ones that first come to hand or something. I'd say we probably buy about 1/4 of our eggs. The other 3/4 come out from the farm where my son and daughter live, and they have quite a few chickens. The other thing you want is 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt and 1/8 of a teaspoon of pepper. Now I say that's what you want, but that's up to you. It's to taste. So you can use more or less, but that's what I'm using. It's 1/8 of a teaspoon of each. I've mixed them together in here. We're going to sprinkle them in there. And that's your 11 ingredients. And now you just want to mix those all together really well. Now there are other things you can add. Some people like to add a little bit of garlic powder. It's up to you really, but this is the method I use, the mixture I use. Now this will make about 4 cakes. If you want to make more than that, if you feel the need to make more than that, then just double the recipe. It's that simple. And if, again, part of it, I say 4 cakes, but a lot of that depends on, of course, how big you make them. There we go. All right, now, since we've all washed our hands before we started this process, right? I know I did. Of course, if you're just watching, I guess you don't have to wash your hands to watch, but when you start making these, make sure you wash your hands. And you might be wondering why that's important. Well, because this is a hands-on recipe, or a hands-in recipe. I'm not sure which way you want to look at it. Let's move all these out of the way here. We're going to bring our cookie sheet over. Now I've put a piece of parchment paper in the bottom, which I recommend you do. And you're going to take your mixture and you're going to form your your fish cakes. In this case, like I say, these are tuna fish cakes. This does work. This recipe works perfectly well with crabs or salmon, or I've even done it with buying the canned cocktail shrimp and kind of mushing them up. Now I'm going to bake these. I bake them in the oven at 350 degrees for about 25 minutes. But you can also fry them in the fry pan or fix them whatever way you prefer. Like I say, it's one of those things that's kind of up to you. Yeah, I got a little bit left here. That one looks a little scant compared to the others, so I'll add it there. Now, once you've got these cakes formed, before you bake them, you want to cool them in the refrigerator for about an hour. All right, we've got our cakes formed. We're going to put them in the fridge for about an hour, or a minimum of an hour, to cool, and that helps them to gel together, so to speak. And then we will come back, and when we're ready, we'll cook them. Again, 350 degrees for about 25 minutes. We'll see you when we're ready to cook them. All those fishing boats with their sails afloat, if I could only see a familiar sunrise through sleepy eyes, how happy I'd be. Well, the cakes have been chilling in the fridge for a little over an hour. Now it's time to bake them, so let's get them out and get them in the oven. There's a quick look, you can see how they are. We're putting them in the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 25 minutes. In they go. We'll set our timer for 25 minutes. And they're cooking. We'll be back when they're done to have a look, see how they turned out. I'm going back someday, come what may, to Blue Bayou. All right, our 25 minutes is almost up. We're down to a few seconds. And we'll see how our tuna cakes turned out. What do you think? Going to be edible? I think they will. And there we have them. Nice and golden brown, looking good. We're going to have them tonight with a nice salad. You could serve them with whatever you want. Rice, potatoes, you name it. French fries. Dress it up, dress it down. Make it an appetizer before the meal. Make them half the size and give them as a little appetizer before you serve the main course. Well, I hope you've enjoyed today's recipe and we'll give it a try. One ingredient I didn't include, but as an optional ingredient would be grated onion. But that's another matter that I'll leave up to you depending on your tastes. Until Tuesday, with Tuesdays with the Pilgrim, and perhaps a few fun facts in between, take care, stay safe, and God bless.